Hello, and welcome back to the Cyber Resilience Brief, a Safe Breach podcast. I'm your host, Tova and with me is Safe Breach's offensive cybersecurity engineer and my co-host, Adrian Cully.
Hi, Tova.
Hi, Adrian. Adrian, today we're bringing our listeners a very special double-header episode, time-sensitive, because we're seeing a lot of media coverage outlining the critical impact of CISA's potential funding volatility and the sunset of key legislation. As you know, this isn't just budget speak, it's a profound threat to the core of U.S. cyber defense. And listeners, you may be asking, why now? There's been talk about CISA shutting down for some time, but as we record this on October 1st, 2025, we are at the beginning of a government shutdown, so it's more critical than ever. Adrian, CISA's ability to generate timely, actionable threat alerts is facing what the note calls a dual threat. Can you break down what that threat is and what that means for a CISO trying to protect their network?
That's a great question, Tova. As all of our partners and customers will be aware, we have a service level agreement legally contracted. When CISA and the other bodies that are a part of their collective release an actionable advisory that includes in the name AA, that's always prefixed with that, including IOCs and TTPs, when there's actionable code, within 24 hours of that release, we provide the attack code, the attack scenario to our partners and customers so that they can run that scenario, simulate that attack, and find out where they are with this threat actor before the threat actor gets to them, hopefully. However, what's going on at the moment is a perfect storm, Tova. It's going to be a massive problem for CISOs. The dual threat hits CISA on both the supply and the analysis side. First, you have the collapse of the information supply. This is driven by the scheduled expiration of the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015, referred to as CISA 2015, on September the 30th, yesterday. CISA 2015 is the backbone of the Automated Indicator Sharing AIS program, and its biggest value is the explicit liability protection it gives to companies, especially critical infrastructure, that voluntarily share threat indicators. When that protection goes away, what happens? Well, private sector entities will delay or withdraw sensitive threat intelligence due to legal uncertainty. That creates a crippling information asymmetry in our national defence posture. CISA gets less raw real-time IOCs and TTPs to work with, meaning the alerts they do produce will be less timely and specific.
Yikes, talk about an erosion of trust. And the second part of that dual threat relates to CISA's internal ability to actually process the data they do receive.
Exactly, Tova. That's the degradation of analysis and response capacity. The proposed 2026 financial year budget cuts are staggering. Nearly 495 million, $500 million in reductions, and the elimination of over 1,000 positions. The largest cuts are aimed at operations and support, ONS, which funds the specialised staff, the incident responders, the analysts, and the policy drafters. This is an operational decapitation. The agency simply won't have the human capital or analytical bandwidth to transform raw threat data into actionable advisories. On top of that, the instability signals a brain drain. We're going to see highly specialised staff leave CISA for more secure employment in the private sector, and the loss of that institutional knowledge, tribal knowledge, will compromise their ability to coordinate large-scale incident responses, which is where the highest value threat alerts often come from. It's an unacceptable compromise to our resilience.
I'll say, going back to how we've defined resilience and how the dictionary defines resilience, it's not just about being proactive in one's security, but being able to pivot quickly. And this is why this could end up being a huge crisis. Now let's talk about another aspect of this briefing note. Given the vulnerabilities we just discussed, the briefing note rightly points to other agencies and channels that can and must step up to continue threat intelligence assistance in the meantime. So domestically, beyond CISA's operational hub, the NCCIC, how are federal law enforcement and other regulators going to fill the gap?
The good news is that the framework for information sharing is already distributed. The risk is distributed. We have federal law enforcement where agencies like the FBI come in. The FBI is the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and intrusions, and they operate the National Cyber Investigative Joint Task Force, the NCIJTF, which integrates law enforcement intelligence. The FBI's cyber division's existing partnership mechanisms like InfraGard and CyWatch for rapid incident reporting and information exchange with the private sector. While CISA focuses on defence and warnings, the FBI focus is on imposing costs on adversaries through investigations and ensures high value in intelligence stream. The intelligence community, let's not forget the NSA. The NSA's mission focuses on national security systems, but through its Cybersecurity Collaboration Centre, the CCC, it operationalises unique insights on nation-state cyber threats and provides advisories to harden the US defence industrial base, the DIB, and major IT companies. They are sharing declassified information and collaborating directly to defeat these sophisticated threats. They have intelligence and they have the mechanisms for bi-directional sharing with the private sector. We then have sector regulators, such as sector risk management agencies, SRMAs, and financial regulators like the SEC. Mature sectors, especially finance, have had mandatory cyber reporting requirements in place for decades, well before CISA's authority. Their long-standing incident disclosure frameworks are critical for infrastructure sharing and remain fully active.
Information asymmetry in the US inevitably impacts our global partners as well. And the nature of cyber threats demands international collaboration. How do our established channels, particularly with the Five Eyes and the European Union, provide a crucial safety net right now?
So international cooperation is non-negotiable in this fight. And we need to highlight that the information flow is explicitly global. We have the Five Eyes Alliance, the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, referred to as the Five Eyes. They're linked by a historic intelligence alliance, which includes cyber intelligence and signals intelligence sharing by default. The AIS programme is already structured to be open to foreign governments and foreign private sector entities. Even if CISA 2015 complicates the legal landscape for US companies, the existence of these established international partnerships provides a persistent channel for global threat indicators, IOCs and TTPs, to flow into the US system. The shared intelligence, honed by decades of collaboration on everything from signals intelligence to combating cyber attacks, is vital for cross-border defence. Equally, we have the European Union and ENISA. The European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, ENISA, is the EU's dedicated agency for achieving a high common level of cybersecurity across Europe. Threat landscape reports and actively supporting information sharing and analysis centres, ISACs, across the EU. CISA's organisational structure includes a stakeholder engagement division that explicitly leads international voluntary partnerships with this broader ISAC community. This operational collaboration and information exchange across the Atlantic offers another avenue for vital intelligence to be shared, regardless of CISA's current domestic budget constraints. The bottom line is that the US government has constitutional duty and infrastructure outside of CISA to facilitate threat sharing. While CISA is our central point for civilian defence, the intelligence, law enforcement and international communities can and will continue to provide essential support and intelligence flow, but it's an inefficient stopgap measure that doesn't replace the critical dedicated analysis and outreach CISA provides to the US's national critical infrastructure.
Adrian, thank you for providing that essential context and for walking us through the necessary contingency channels. This truly is a high-stakes moment for cyber resilience. And as always, our listeners will bring you updates as they come in.
Thank you, Tova.
Thank you, Adrian. And to our listeners, stay safe with SafeBreach. Until next time. The Cyber Resilience Brief is a SafeBreach podcast produced by Tova Devorin and executive produced by Adrian Cully. Sound design provided by Adobe Podcasts. Distribution provided by Podbean and extra support and love from the SafeBreach team. For more information on how adversarial exposure validation through SafeBreach can protect you and your business, no matter where you reside or what industry you're in, please visit us at www.safebreach.com.